Our countdown opens not with knives or flapping wings, but with a whisper. Rebecca looks like an old black and white Gothic romance. A young woman marries a wealthy widower and moves into a mansion where the previous Mrs. De Winter still seems to set the table, command the staff, and choreograph every silence. In this film, Hitchcock weaponizes atmosphere. Corridors echo, curtains breathe. Judith Anderson's Mrs. Danvers drifts through rooms like a high priestess of the dead. The terror isn't supernatural, it's psychological. The house remembers, and the living obey. Now, while watching this movie, look for the way the camera moves through Manderley Mansion, gliding, inspecting, recalling. Look for the power imbalance in every two-shot. The second Mrs. De Winter is always slightly out of place. And look for how Hitchcock literalizes the idea that memory can burn. This was Hitchcock's first Hollywood feature film, and it won the Oscar for Best Picture. This announced that the master of suspense could turn a studio Gothic into a psychological thriller. It's fear by implication, perfectly seasonable for candlelit October evenings. If you're in for a double feature, consider watching Rebecca with Dial M for Murder, another psychological thriller. At number 4 is Rear Window. A broken leg, a camera, and an urban courtyard. That's it. And somehow, it's everything. Rear Window traps us in a single room with a man who watches his neighbors like channels on a TV. The more he looks, the more the images demand interpretation, and the more dangerous looking becomes. The film turns voyeurism into a haunting ritual. The longer you stare into the dark, the more certain you are that something in the dark is staring back. The terror here isn't a jump scare. It's the moral vertigo that comes from feeling responsible for what you think you saw. In Rear Window, watch and listen for the score of the city, the hum of the streets beyond the courtyard, the clinking of glasses, a composer's piano, a couple's arguments drifting on night air. Sound becomes surveillance. Grace Kelly's character, Lisa, has courage incarnate, elegance weaponized. The moment the watched becomes the watcher is electric. And also look for spatial storytelling. You learn who people are by how they move in their rectangles, or picture frames, if you will. Hitchcock owes a great deal to Edward Hopper's paintings for the visual storytelling in this film. And by the way, be aware of how rarely in this movie you, the viewer, ever leaves the protagonist's apartment. In this movie, Hitchcock asks us the question, what is our duty to what we see? He makes us complicit, and that's scarier than any monster. Consider pairing this film with the film Rope for another exquisitely constrained nightmare. Yeah, plus, that gives you more Jimmy Stewart. And speaking of Jimmy Stewart, at number 3 is Vertigo. Some films are haunted houses. Vertigo is a haunted mind. A detective with a fear of heights is hired to follow a woman who seems possessed by the past. He falls in love with an image and then tries to remake reality in its shape. The result is one of the cinema's great tragedies, a spiral of desire, guilt, and control. The film plays like a ghost story without ghosts. The supernatural floats at the edges, but the terror is psychological. The violence we do when we force the living to match the dead. It's the most elegant nightmare in Hitchcock's American run of films. While watching Vertigo, look and listen for the dolly zoom that visualizes panic as spatial distortion, fear made visible. Spielberg famously used this shot in Jaws. Also look for color as spellcraft. Watch how green and red wage a quiet war. And listen for Bernard Herrmann's score, which doesn't accompany the images so much as it binds them. This movie was released into a mid-century America, humming with advertising and reinvention. Vertigo is a critique of remaking of people, of stories, of the past, until nothing is true and everything is a picture. For Halloween, it offers a different shiver, the fear that the ghost is our own idea. Pair this one with Rebecca for an evening of memory palaces and the people they ruin. Halloween isn't just about ghosts and monsters. It's about the dread that creeps in when the door is locked, the house is quiet, and you're certain, absolutely certain, you heard something move upstairs. No one understood that elegant shiver better than Alfred Hitchcock. His films turn everyday spaces like motels, museums, and urban courtyards into haunted houses of the mind. These aren't merely scary movies. They're lessons in how to be scared by suggestion, rhythm, silence, and the awful feeling that just by watching, you became a participant, not just a spectator. Swooping in at number 2 is The Birds. Hitchcock removes motive and the floor drops out. In The Birds, normal life, flirtations, family dinners, small town gossip, it all begins to tear at the edges as birds mass, test, and then attack. There's no musical score in this film. Nothing to cushion the blow, only the raw sound of wings, birds screeching, beaks, and breaking glass. The attacks are terrifying. The silences between them and the waiting, they're worse. In October, when shadows lengthen and wind smells like change, the birds murmur that the world might not be about us at all. In this movie, watch for the classroom and the playground, innocence measured against inevitability. Oh, and good luck getting the song they sing out of your head. Look for the famous jungle gym scene, suspense as arithmetic. 1 crow, 2 crows, 10. Don't look, don't look. The siege structure. Hitchcock transforms this coastal town into a pressure cooker, a Western fort under assault by the inexplicable. This is Hitchcock's apocalyptic mood piece. The refusal to explain becomes the point of the film. When systems fail, science, law, reason, what remains is human behavior under stress. That's prime Halloween material, dread without a manual. Now, to keep the terror going, consider rolling right into our next film. At number 1 is Psycho. Psycho is a Halloween rite of passage, a film that destroys certainty, rewrites the rules, and turns an old roadside motel into the scariest liminal place in America. A woman makes a desperate choice. A man tends a lonely business and a lonelier house. Rain, a shower, edits like lightning and strings like screams. Psycho feels illicit. It's the thrill of looking where you're not supposed to look and discovering that the abyss has domestic wallpaper. Even if you know the scene, the sequence still works with brilliant editing and suggestion. In Psycho, watch and listen for the conversation in the parlor, the stuffed birds, polite smiles, and sentences that shiver when you replay them. The staircase, movement as fate, and the final explanation, clinical, almost cold, delivered almost like a dare. Hitchcock knows the scariest thing is what stays unsaid. Hitchcock turned marketing into a part of this movie. No late admissions, keep the secrets. He made terror modern, fast, economical, unpinned from the supernatural. If October is the month when ordinary life admits the uncanny, Psycho is the soundtrack. So there's your Hitchcock Halloween must-watch movies, from Gothic memory to modern rupture. Number 5, Rebecca. Number 4, Rear Window. Number 3, Vertigo. Number 2, The Birds. And number 1, Psycho. Start the viewing in a mansion ruled by a memory. Learn the danger of looking. Spiral into a mind that mistakes image for truth. Step outside and let the sky turn hostile. And end where the knife is suggestion, and suggestion is more than enough. In these films, Hitchcock doesn't scare you with something. He scares you about yourself, your habits, your hunger to look, your faith in explanations. That's why they're perfect for spooky season. The ghosts are there if you want them. But the real haunted house, it's the one behind your eyes. If you enjoyed this countdown, please drop your own top 5 in the comments and tell me your ideal Hitchcock double feature for Halloween night. Until next time, lock the door, close the curtains, and maybe check the shower before you step in. And, safe journeys.